For me, kayak fishing is simple. A boat, a paddle, a fishing rod, and unspoiled water. The fish are big. The chaos is beautiful. It's angling's addictive final frontier, and I'm hooked. I'm Drew Gregory, and this is Hooked on Wild Waters.
Drew Gregory's Hooked on Wild Waters has been brought to you by River Bassin Tournament Trail. No egos, just fun. Jackson Kayak, we make fun. GoPro, be a hero. Bending Branches, pretty, smart paddles. Orion Coolers, never lose your cool. 13 Fishing, make your own luck. Z-Man Lures, the science and art of fishing.
To go. Well, as you know, this season has been all about catching river bass. We've been river bassing all over the country, different species, different environments, and today we're where we held the championship for the River Bassin Tournament Trail, and I'm with the River Basser of the Year, Jeremy Crowe. What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy, you won a huge prize package here in Kingston, Tennessee last time you were here. Today, there may not be quite as much on the line, but I'm glad you came down. We're gonna have a lot of fun.
Looking forward to get on the river. I heard there's some nice smallmouth here and look forward to hooking this home.
All right, man. Well, I also heard there's potential for muskie in this area. This is one of the southernmost muskie, rivers in the country. So, hey, I mean, I'm all about river bassing, but I'm not gonna turn down a muskie. So let's see if we can't catch something today, have a good time on the river. Let's get to it. Fall fishing is definitely one of my favorite times of year to get on the river. The bass are feeding up heavy, they can sense the cold weather and the shorter days, and they know they just have to eat to stock up and gain weight for the winter. So we know we're gonna have some aggressive fish on the river. It's exciting when I look over and I just see the fog coming off the water. You know the water's warm and the air is cool. It makes for a really cool scene. And then you add in the bluffs and the leaves starting to change colors. This is gonna be an amazing trip. The river looks beautiful. You've got grass patches everywhere, some big boulders, nice rock cliffs on the bends, and we just got to figure out where they're at. And early on, I'm making some casts on the grassy side, on the sunny side, which warms up a little quicker in the fall than, obviously the shaded side. And sometimes fish will move over there and get aggressive because the bait fish move shallow over there because they want to be warm too. So I'm making some casts right along the grass with this buzz bait, and then wham, this spotted bass nails it. Awesome fight, a good sized fish, no monster by any means, but a great way to start the day.
Nice.
So I started off the day nicely here with this 15.5-inch spotted bass. Remember, they're different than the Alabama bass, which is the first episode of this season. Go back and watch it if you haven't. But awesome fish, it smashed this buzzbait. Got the Z-Man trick shots on the back, it's working great. So it looks like I got a 15.5-inch lead on our River Basser of the Year. Although I think I'm gonna have to catch some bigger than this, but it's a good start. As we continue to float down the river, I'm glancing over and I'm checking out Jeremy because I've never actually had a chance to fish with him. And I clearly can see, why he's the River Basser of the Year. He's very precise with his casts. He knows the spots where the bass live, even the subtle spots in rivers that most people don't see, the current seams and some of the deeper areas. He's working it all very thoroughly, and I can tell he's probably gonna get onto something pretty soon.
So I was coming down the river and Drew pointed out this mud bank. Told me to hit it, that there was, that's where muskie sit. So I pulled out a spinnerbait that I made myself and just started beating the bank. As I was reeling it in, I actually watched this muskie come up and engulf it. And as soon as he closed his mouth, I set the hook. Muskie! And it was the most phenomenal fight I've ever had. The thing jumped like 2 or 3 times. It looked like a tarpon.
So I paddle over to Jeremy as fast as I can. I'm so excited. I want to see how I can help. And unfortunately, our leverage landing nets won't even, hold this fish. So we've got to go over to the bank. We got to land it on the bank. And if you don't have a net or you forget your net, that's the best way to handle a big fish like this. And Jeremy, believe it or not, being from Michigan, had never caught a muskie. So he gets out, and you got to be careful because their gill plates are sharp and they're thrashing, they're going like crazy, and obviously you can see their teeth are very sharp as well. So we had to get it on a fish grip eventually, on the Lucid fish grip we had there, which fortunately spins around in a circle, and it's going to make sure the fish doesn't tear itself up as it's trying to thrash. It was so exciting to be able to see this fish. It's a huge fish, 40-something plus inches, just an amazing creature and an awesome bonus when I'm river bassing down the river. So we're river bassing today, but Jeremy apparently is river muskie fishing, and we knew they were in here, and I actually called it. Did I not say?
He called it. He told
like
me
5 minutes before I
fish
said,
bank.
fish this muddy bank. You can see we're on a muddy bank, totally different habitat than bass typically like. And sure enough, you didn't bypass it, you fished it, and you nailed your spinnerbait. We gotta measure this, we gotta measure this. We gotta get the Bending Branches paddle measurement. This is crazy. This is what Hooked on Wild Waters is all about.
41, maybe 41 and a half.
Not bad for a first muskie.
No, not at all.
Not bad at all, man. That was an incredible fight. I've never seen anything like that. It went nuts. It was pulling you under logs and rocks. It was crazy, jumping. Looked like a tarpon just leaping out. This is an amazing creature. We got to get this thing back in the water and release it pretty quick, so let's get to it. The bite is tough, and this just makes me think about, when the guys are fishing in the River Bassin Tournament Trail, what do you do when it's just a tough bite? You got to keep grinding, you got to stay positive, and keep searching for that pattern. And so what I did is I get out, my baits, and I fold out my Plano Z series, and I look at all my plastics. I just start changing to everything I can. Just throw the whole tackle box at them, basically. The sun is really high. It's bluebird skies, clear water. I think most fishermen know that's the recipe for finesse fishing. So I'm gonna do a little finesse fishing, maybe later when it gets cloudier again, or I doubt it's gonna get cloudy, but possibly the sun's gonna go down, these cliffs are gonna provide some shade. I could switch back to some power fishing techniques. But for now, I'm gonna go finesse. I also switch to power techniques in the rapids. So if you're ever getting swift water, good spot for power fishing. Calm, slow water like this, it's better for the finesse fishing. And fortunately for me, I got some brand new Z-Man stuff that's coming out 2018, but I've already got it. So I'm gonna try one of their new TRD hogs. This thing's pretty sweet. It looks incredible in the water. I mean, it just stands just upright like this, just like a crawfish or some sort of crustacean. Hellgrammite, smallmouth love hellgrammites. So that should work. And also I'm gonna put on one of these trick shots. These trick shots are actually a drop shot bait, but they actually are gonna work really good with the Ned Locks head. So this thing is gonna be perfect. I've seen minnows in the water this exact size, exact color. They're gonna bite this. Either this or the TRD hogs, they're gonna catch something. So we're gonna do it. So we're at Riverside on the Clinch River in Kingston, Tennessee, and I'm with Rick Ross. You're the Director of Parks and Recreation for the town of Kingston. And let me tell you what, man, this is one of the most unique areas I've ever seen for fisheries, because you've got, all these river systems joining together, the Clinch, the Emery, the Tennessee, and a lake is involved here. It's just one of the reasons that we wanted to come and fish here for this episode. But tell us a little bit more about this area and why it's special to you.
I think growing up here, I think it became a big fishing populated area because of the 3 rivers that come together. You've got the Clinch, the Emery, and the Tennessee that make up the Watts-Bar watershed. You've got so many species of fish. I think it's really unique in that aspect of it. We've got something for recreational boaters, anglers, as well as just folks that just like to camp along the riverside. This lake is one of the most beautiful lakes, I think, in the South. And I think it is a beautiful location, beautiful backdrop of Kingston. And Kingston basically is surrounded by water. And so I think it's just a natural fit for us to be into the fishing tourism business.
Yeah, you could stay right here and fish so many river miles and not have to drive more than just 10 miles, 10, 15 miles, and you could be here for weeks. So, and all those species makes it real appealing for the angler, all the predator species. So we can catch a muskie, a smallmouth, a largemouth. It's endless, the opportunity. So I'm looking forward to hopefully getting into some big fish here, and it's gonna be a fun time. So as you guys know, in Hooked on Wild Waters, we love to talk about things that are outside of the river, something that makes an area unique, or that river unique and special. And what we found here in Kingston, we're actually sitting right now at Fort Southwest Point. This is a post-Revolutionary War fort, and honestly, I'm gonna let Rick tell you all about it because he knows way more than I do.
Well, we are lucky to be sitting here at Fort Southwest Point. One of the most unique things about this fort is it's actually all our replica buildings are on their original foundations, where they would have been. So we've got buildings like we're sitting in now, which would have been a barracks. Over there you would have had a leather tack shop, a blacksmith shop, a blockhouse. But I think one of the things that makes this place, like I said, so unique is that where you're going, this is not just a replica of what we think it would have been like. Archaeologists came in here, actually found the original foundations, uncovered them, and we were able to started constructing buildings right on top of them. So our goal is, over the next however many years it takes, is to get this fort completely rebuilt, and so that we can continue on and teach history from it.
It's just incredible. I mean, just looking at this and seeing the age of it all, and you even said this chapel, people come here and get married in this chapel. It's a teeny little chapel, but I tell you what, it'd be an amazing place to get married for sure. And what I was impressed by is the incredible arrowhead collection you guys have down there in the visitor center. If you ever get by here, it's definitely worth checking out. And there's some arrowheads you said are prehistoric, like literally like a mastodon were killed with these arrowheads. I mean, tell us a little bit about that collection.
We were really fortunate. There was a local family here that spent years and years and years collecting arrowheads and spearheads and Native American artifacts, and that's the Winsboro family. And they donated those to the fort for them to be shown and used and to teach history. And we're really fortunate to have them. We have probably one of the largest arrowhead collections in the South.
I mean, the arrowheads are truly amazing, and I've actually found some on the rivers myself. You got to stop and look around a little bit, but there are so many rivers around the country, you can still find them today. I mean, floods will churn up new rocks, and the arrowheads are certainly light enough they get thrown around. So I definitely encourage you guys to take a look and stop and look at stuff outside of the riverbank sometimes and appreciate it, because that's what we've done here today. And there's one last thing I've got to appreciate. I hear there's a cannon.
There is a cannon.
And we can fire.
Yes, we can.
And you're not joking with me.
We're gonna fire it.
All right, we gotta go do this. Is there a name to this cannon?
We call it Baby.
Baby, let's go fire Baby. Here we go. Woo! It was a ton of fun to be able to hang out with Jeremy, get to know him a little bit better, and he's very humble and quiet and more subtle in the way he goes about things than I am. But it just goes to show that there's different ways that can get it done on the river. And I couldn't have asked for a better champion to represent our tournament trail. And next year, I can't wait to see him out there along with hopefully some of you guys on the River Bassin tournament trail. So Jeremy, tell me a little bit about River Bassin and your experience. I mean, you are River Basser of the Year, which is our Angler of the Year award. What do you enjoy most about fishing the River Bassin tournament trail?
It puts me on rivers, which is my favorite kind of fishing. I've followed it all over the country. My fiance and I, there's a team division where, you know, we're able to team up and go hang out all over the country. We've met so many good people. It's just a laid back, fun tournament trail.
Right, and the team division is partly what makes it so laid back. You can team up and it builds camaraderie, and like you said, it's just a family festival feel. You guys definitely need to check out the River Bassin tournament trail. We're gonna have a huge blowout tournament in the Ozarks in 2018, and we're gonna have thousands and thousands of cash and prizes. You guys should definitely check it out online, register, and we'll see you there. Go River Bassin, we're doing it, we're having fun. See you there. Daylight is starting to fade. We've never floated this section before, and we're pretty sure we're almost to the takeout, but just in case, we're trying to make up some ground. At this one point, we're going down rapids, and my kayak comes to a stop on a rock, and I see some area, it's pretty shallow, but I decide, you know what? We've caught big smallmouth before, right, in shallow water, and it's always surprising to me how shallow they get. So I make a cast over by some grass that looks very similar to where I caught that first spot of bass. And literally a couple cranks in, wham, this smallmouth nails it, and being in current is quite the fight. I'm getting pulled around. This fish is jumping like crazy. I drop my power pole, anchor myself. Woo! Yeah! Woo! That's it, baby. That's it. That's what I'm talking about. This was a really, really solid smallmouth. 18 1/4 inches, probably weighs about 3.5, maybe even 3 3/4 pounds, given that they're fattening up for the fall and the winter. Well, in true Hooked on Wild Waters fashion, it's near the end of the day, bottom of the ninth, and this big smallmouth hits at 3.5 pounds, about 18 1/4 inches. I mean, my heart was pounding. She nailed this spinnerbait in the grass. What a fight. I mean, fighting rapids along these huge bluffs and the cliffs is just incredibly gorgeous and challenging terrain. And clearly you can see between the muskie and the river bassin and all this beautiful scenery here in Tennessee why I'm hooked on wild waters. I think back to this entire season where I took you guys through a river bassin journey. You know, starting on the Coosa River, fishing out of a Coosa HD nonetheless, and catching awesome Alabama bass. In that environment, it just could not have been a better way to start. And then we move over to South Carolina, catching big largemouth in the river with Brian Latimer. That was a blast, and I could not believe the blast of cold air that we got on that episode and how Brian and I were able to figure it out and still catch some nice fish despite the conditions. Then going back to Georgia to be able to fish with my favorite Braves player, Tim Hudson, and put him on his first shoal bass, or really, he put himself on it right from the bank from the get-go, right? But then his first kayak shoal bass, that was incredible. And then to end it with a double hookup with Tim, now I'm telling you what, that was a double play Tim and I will never forget. As big as the Flint River is, it was so cool to come back to the basics, fish a very, very small creek, and just get out and wade in the cool summer water and catch smallmouth bass. And then find a different way to catch fish by getting out of the creek and going and finding new water and catching some nice bass at the quarries. What an amazing, amazing trip that was as well. Being on the New River, you know, one of the oldest rivers in the world, and looking at the cliffs and the scenery that place bestows was amazing. And then given the fact that we had to overcome the obstacles of the high water, but yet still caught fish, just goes to show you it can be done. Any season of the year, it can be done, and there's no place I'd rather do it than on the New River. Going from the New River Gorge to the Susquehanna River, I mean, complete opposites. Super shallow. The Susquehanna was incredible with the grass beds and total different pattern I had to learn. But eventually, as I'm moving my way side to side and up and down the river, I learned where they were. I went back up to the rocks. I found that big fish behind the island. It made for a real special trip I'm never going to forget. I've been super blessed to catch a lot of nice fish on all the episodes this season. But then we came to the Elk River, and it provided a serious challenge for Stetson Blaylock and I. You know, the clear water and all the fish were spooking. It was just really difficult. We still caught some fish, but I gotta say, I want to get back to the Ozarks. I want my redemption on all the huge fish that he and I just saw in the water that frustrated us that day. Getting to end this season with our River Basser of the Year right there in Kingston, Tennessee area, catching smallmouth bass, spotted bass, and getting a bonus muskie, I could not have dreamt of a better way to end this season. And you can clearly see throughout the entire river bassin season and all the fish we've caught why I'm hooked on wild waters.
Drew Gregory's Hooked on Wild Waters has been brought to you by River Bassin Tournament Trail. No egos, just fun. Jackson Kayak, we make fun. GoPro, be a hero. Bending Branches, pretty, smart paddles. Orion Coolers, never lose your cool. 13 Fishing, make your own luck. Z-Man Lures, the science and art of fishing.